Welcome to the second Raymarine weather briefing for the JP Morgan Asset Management 80th Round the Island race. I'm sat here today on the western end of the Isle of Wight with the Needles behind me. This is going to be a critical point of your race on Saturday and something we discuss in terms of strategy in a little more detail in the course overview. But let's have a look at the weather for the next couple of days and the general situation currently in the Atlantic. If you remember from our briefing yesterday, we were focusing on an area of complex low pressure out in the western Atlantic. This area of low pressure is still the critical feature for the race and something we're going to look at as to how the conditions are going to develop on Saturday. The low pressure is going to split. It's quite a large area of low pressure in the Atlantic, and consequently it's going to split into two different features. The first feature is going to spin up through between Iceland and Scotland and centre itself there for the start of the race. The other feature that we need to consider is the ridge of high pressure that's currently developing over the southern part of the UK at the moment. This is what's giving us the slightly more bright conditions that we've got here today, and the blustery weather is also a consequence of that. As we discussed in yesterday's briefing, the interaction between these two separate features is important in terms of the conditions we're likely to experience. The low pressure will squeeze into the high pressure that's currently over the southern part of the country and create a squeeze or pressure gradient between the two systems. This will increase the southwesterly flow that we're likely to expect on race day. So let's look at the detail for Saturday. I would expect the winds to build quite quickly, up to 20 knots from the southwest. This is likely to give you quite an interesting beat down the western Solent after your start. Also consider the fact that the wind typically funnels up the western Solent from a southwesterly direction and can accelerate to stronger strengths. Also, you have tide behind you, so the effect of this will build the apparent winds you'll feel over the deck and make the winds feel stronger. This all combines to give you quite an interesting and busy beat down the western Solent. Once you get to the Needles, avoiding the hazards that we discuss in the course overview video, you'll be bearing away onto a reach. This could be quite a tight reach, but may also give the opportunity for some spinnaker work at this point. This leg takes you down towards St Catherine's Point. The winds will be stronger at this point because you're going to have less friction effects. The land is no longer an issue, so you're going to have perhaps more gusty conditions on your leg down towards St Catherine's. Also at St Catherine's itself, being an exposed headland, quite likely to see some acceleration around the headland. So don't be surprised to see 25 knots plus at this point. At St Catherine's, it's time for another bear away, onto a run and heading towards Bembridge Ledge. So lots of spinnaker work for your trimmers down the south side of the island. At Bembridge Ledge, again another sail plan and a busy corner of the race. At this point, we're going to head probably in towards Sea View to avoid the worst of the tide. After you clear the exclusion zone at Sea View, you're going to be heading onto a beat into the eastern Solent. This is most likely to be along the Ryde Sands, as tide for most of you will be flooding at this point. So staying out of the tide is quite an advantage. The winds at this point, once you're into the eastern Solent, are likely to be a little bit lighter because we again pick up the frictional effects of the land. This friction also allows for the winds to become a little bit more tweaky, a little bit more fluky. So shifts and gusts are quite likely at this point of the course. This is likely to extend all the way up the eastern Solent towards the finish. This will be particularly true as you come out of Osborne Bay towards the finish line. Winds here can be very fluky and quite gusty as they come round the point at Oldcastle Point. Heading towards the finish line, this may also give you a little bit of an unusual swell at this point, and it's also another busy part of the course with lots of boats tacking in towards their respective finish lines. This hopefully gives you a summary for the conditions we're likely to expect 2 days out from the start of the race on Saturday. Don't forget to sign up for the SMS updates and email updates from raymarine.co.uk. Libby will also be doing a live weather briefing at 6 o'clock at the Island Sailing Club tomorrow evening. I hope you enjoy your race, and we'll see you on Friday evening.